and welcome to Your Vote Counts. I'm Bernadine Anderson from the League of Women Voters, and we are bringing you this public nonpartisan voter service program. These 2020 general election interviews are made possible by Capital Community Media via remote technology and in collaboration with the Leagues of Women Voters of Oregon and of Marion and Polk counties. For this race, all candidates were invited. Candidates did not receive the questions ahead of time that were developed by the League of Women Voters, American Association of University Women, and neighborhood associations. Our candidate today was asked to prepare a 3-minute statement telling about themselves, their qualifications, and their vision for the office if elected. I'd like to now ask candidate Deb Patterson, who's running for the office of Senate District 10, to share her opening remarks. Candidate Patterson?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. It's a true honor, and I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to speak with you and to have this available for voters. I'm Deb Patterson, Democratic nominee for Oregon State Senate District 10. That includes Almsville and Turner, South Salem, West Salem, Independence, Monmouth, part of Four Corners, and part of unincorporated East Salem. I'm running because we need better health care for more people for less money. I hold a Master in Healthcare Administration from Washington University School of Medicine, and I've been a healthcare advocate for over 20 years. For a decade, I ran an international health organization partnering with more than 15,000 registered nurses, and they were helping people access needed health care. When I started, we were in 6 countries, and 10 years later, we were in 23 countries on 5 continents. Given the threats to access to health care at the federal level in this country, we need to stand up at the state level to help small business owners and others afford the health care that they need. I'm also the mom of 2 young adults, one with special needs, and I'm running for an Oregon that works for everyone. While working as the vice president of a children's health philanthropy, I saw how important the social determinants of health are, and I've seen the racial disparities in healthcare outcomes, something we're still seeing with COVID among Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. We also need affordable long-term care because I've seen too many seniors have to spend down to near destitution to afford the care that they need. We need strong schools with good after-school programs and universal pre-K, and we need affordable college and vocational training opportunities. We need a range of housing options because we can't let people sleep on the streets, and we need the services to help people who are experiencing addictions or mental illness, both of which are now in short supply. As a mom, I also care deeply about the future for all of our children, and I believe that we need clean energy jobs with living wages to help the environment. For nearly 30 years, I've been an ordained congregational minister, and I currently serve a rural congregation that's here in the Mid-Willamette Valley. I grew up on a farm, and I'm very comfortable bridging the urban-rural divide because I've lived it and continue to live it to this day. You can be sure that I'm also faithful and diligent about showing up for work and working across the aisle. I ran for this seat in 2018 and earned 46% of the vote against a long-term incumbent in a good, clean race. The demographics have changed since then, though, and I'm convinced that my qualifications and experience make me the best candidate at this time to represent the citizens of Oregon State Senate District 10.
Thank you. And I would like to begin with this question for you. What methods do you propose for increasing the ability and the willingness of the senators to work together on legislation?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the experience I bring really helps me to be prepared to do just that. As I mentioned, I'm currently serving a rural congregation. Other congregations I've served in the past have also been in rural settings. And in all of the settings where I've worked, I'm running the International Health Organization as well, I've worked with stakeholders who have a wide variety of political and other points of view. And so we've always worked together to get the job done. So I show up and work with the people who are there together to get things done. And that's what I would continue to do. I bring 30 years of experience doing that.
Thank you. Like for you to explain the concept of cap and reduce that is being suggested to address climate change. And maybe you have some other ideas you'd like to share as well.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I believe very strongly that we need to take climate action to address our changes in our climate currently with the wildfires that are being experienced all up and down the West Coast and even as far to the east of us as Colorado. People are really suffering and struggling with this right now, and we've even lost many thousands of homes and sadly also a number of lives as well. We hope that there won't be any more, that death toll has we found everyone. And my heart goes out to all of those folks. I know people are really suffering. So why would we not act to make the changes necessary to address this? As far as cap and reduce, it's clear that carbon emissions are a major player in causing the global climate change that we're experiencing. And this would be a way to make sure that businesses can still operate in a way that allows them to fairly compensate the economy in ways that would reduce our overall use of carbon emissions. So in other words, a company that is having more carbon that they're using would pay to reduce, pay an offset to buy credits that would be used to invest in the clean energy jobs that we need to have with the living wages that I was saying, because the clean energy sector has lagged behind the other sectors in energy in paying good living wage jobs. So it works well in other parts of this country and in other countries, and I think it's a model that we certainly need to be very diligent about making sure that it can work well too. We cannot afford not to work here in Oregon along with the rest of the world to address global climate change.
Thank you. Do you agree that the legislature should pass campaign finance reform for Oregon?
Absolutely. There recently was a bill to try to address the dark money that's in campaign finance right now. My opponent, the current incumbent, voted against that bill. I really believe we need transparency in all of the money that's coming into campaign finance. I would be very happy to see us cap the amount per person that's allowed to be given to each candidate as we have at the federal level. So certainly I believe that that candidates should represent the people, not corporations and not special interests. They should be, and we should be able to know where their money is coming from. Absolutely, I'm in favor of campaign finance reform.
Could you tell us something about what you think would be parameters or elements to campaign finance reform? What would that look like?
Sure. As I mentioned, I do believe we need caps on the amount per person that are allowed to be given to any individual candidate. And I believe also we need to have transparency in who is giving to PACs that then give money to candidates. And Orstar currently tracks, as you know, the names are given of anyone who has given over $100 to an individual candidate. But if something comes from a PAC, there's no record of that, and it would be an easy matter to add that as well. Again, with having individual campaign limits as we do at the federal level.
Thank you. The redistricting topic did not make it on the ballot this time, but could you share some of your concerns or celebrations about the process as it is now and what you would like it to look like?
One of the things that I really appreciated about the League of Women Voters ballot initiative, that initiative petition that was being considered, was how much education was done around the process of how it currently takes place. And I really appreciate that effort across the state to inform voters on what happens with redistricting, which, as we all know, is required by our Constitution every 10 years and will be required in 2021. I feel very much that, which is why I'm running, I feel that everyone in the Oregon Legislature should represent the people of their district, and so I'm very much in favor of a fair redistricting process, which I believe we have now. In 2011, when we had redistricting, it was very much a bipartisan process, and I really like to see that happen again in 2021. And if elected, I am very committed to making sure that happens.
How can agricultural lands be protected while addressing our population growth?
I am so thrilled to see Oregon look like Oregon and not look like other parts of the West Coast with urban sprawl. And I think our land use laws are very sensible and we're very forward thinking. Certainly, agriculture is our major industry, and also we need the food and we need the economic growth, so we have to protect our agricultural lands. I think there was a great step taken forward recently with the legislation passed around middle housing, which would allow for multifamily housing units to be built. I would say, however, though, that we need to work with neighborhood associations and others to not run over their wishes for neighborhoods to maintain the character they have. Certainly multifamily units can be built in a way that fits within the character of the neighborhoods, because this has to be a win-win solution for everyone. I'm really running for an Oregon that works for all. So I'd like to also add a word that we need to get funding from the federal level. HUD has been defunded by 75%. We're at a 25% level where we were at at the Reagan era. So we have to work at the neighborhood level, neighborhood association level, the city planners and city councilors, the county commissioners, the Oregon legislators, and Congress to get the funding we need, to get the housing we need. But I do believe we can do it in a way that maintains our current land use policies that are so important to protect.
As you consider this office and your role, what would your priority issues be, and on what committees would you like to serve?
Yeah, well, obviously with my background, having worked for years in healthcare advocacy, I would really like to be involved in, expanding access to affordable, quality healthcare here in Oregon. We were at 94% coverage for people to have health insurance, but since the pandemic has hit and some folks have lost work, not everyone has maintained healthcare coverage. And I was really glad to see that coverage is available now through an open enrollment if you've lost your coverage because of dislocation from the fires. So obviously I'd like to be I'm very interested in the task force that's working on universal access to healthcare. But as far as committees, clearly healthcare. But I've found myself testifying most recently over the past few years at Health and Human Services. I'm on the Oregon Disabilities Commission. As a minister, as a health administrator, I've just really been very concerned about issues related to seniors. I've been advocating for Oregon Project Independence. So, those are areas that I bring expertise and passion to. So those are my first two choices for committees.
Thank you. And we can't overlook the fires very easily at all, since they're around us and surrounding our lives. So what do you see the future of forest care looking like in Oregon?
Yeah, that's a question I've been thinking about so much for, a long time, but now there's lightning. I'm hoping that we don't have any lightning strikes out in the forest. But So our forests are changing because the global climate change is changing. We're seeing armadillos here, which we'd never seen before. So we have to be real mindful as we replant that we plant species that are well suited for our climate as it changes. We need building codes that address as we rebuild, where all kinds of new products that are helpful to make structures more likely to withstand. To be clear, this last event that we had was a huge wind event that was unprecedented, and I know we're overusing that word, but there are many things we can do. Also, there's so much education that we need to do. The fire marshals have been trying so hard to do that around having places that protect our where we live from fires as well. We're all in this together, and I honestly don't believe it's you win, you lose. If if we work together on good forest management, I'd like to look to the experts. And just this last week, Governor Brown put together a 116-page proposal and is putting together a group to work on this moving forward. I'd like to learn more from them about the ways we can make a difference, but certainly I'm not willing to throw up my hands and say we can't do anything, because I know that we can. And I'm excited about what we can do to make Oregon stronger for the future and safer from massive forest fires in this way.
Thank you, Candidate Patterson, for our interview today and for sharing your thoughts.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. The time went by so quickly, and I apologize for the interruption. My website, if folks would like more information, is www.debpattersonor.org. Thank you so much.
Thanks to Capital Community Media for their time and their expertise in creating this program and making it available across the state through YouTube and Vote 411. Thank you to the several League of Women Voters leagues that have participated, American Association of University Women, Salem City Club, for being interviewers and for suggesting questions. And thanks to you, the public, for watching Your Vote Counts in order to become a more informed voter. For more voter information, including dates, registration, candidates for state and local areas, and ballot measure information, please go online to vote411.org. You have until October 13th to register to vote or to make address changes. Ballots will be mailed beginning October 14th, and we know that November 3rd, that very important day, is Election Day. Please remember that postmarks don't count. Elections matter and make a difference in our lives. So remember to vote, because your vote counts.